What was that play? Oh my god, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, fell on her hip. That's a hack! That's a hack!
Did the WNBA just rig a game against its biggest star? That's the question on everyone's mind after what went down between the Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty.
I can't believe what I'm about to say. The Indiana Fever, with the strongest, loudest, most intimidating home court advantage in all the WNBA, just got robbed at home. I saw it with my own two eyes live on CBS against the defending champion New York Liberty.
What should have been a highlight night for Caitlin Clark turned into a masterclass in how to lose a game without actually being outplayed. The footage, brutal. The numbers, blatantly lopsided. The whistles, flying one way like it was a Liberty-themed parade. And the craziest part, it happened in front of a national audience on CBS, with millions watching as refs seemingly ignored Clark getting hacked, shoved, and straight up tackled without a single call.
Like footage has emerged proving WNBA referees definitely have an agenda against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Meanwhile, her opponents were sent to the line for contact that wouldn't knock over a paper towel roll. Fans weren't just upset, they were furious. Comment sections exploded, social media timelines melted down, even neutral analysts were shaking their heads, wondering if what they just watched was basketball, or something a lot more sinister.
Oh my god, they hacked the one of honor and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
But what happened during this game has fans demanding answers. And if you thought this was just about bad officiating, think again, because this story runs much deeper than a missed call. It's about power, perception, and whether the WNBA's brightest star is being deliberately dimmed.
They fell behind by 15 in the first half. No huge surprise. But boy, they stormed back as Caitlin Clark finally snapped out of her three-point funk slump.
On a nationally televised stage in one of the most hyped matchups of the season, Caitlin Clark was thrown to the hardwood like it was a street fight, and the refs swallowed their whistles like nothing happened. The moment she drove to the basket, got body checked midair, and crashed to the floor, everyone expected a whistle. Instead, silence. Not a sound, not even a glance from the officials.
But she's in position, and it looked like she just got hacked, smashed, tackled. I don't know. The ball goes sideways. It looked like a body foul. It looked like an arm hack. I don't know. They didn't replay it conclusively, but just in real time, I thought that's just a foul. You just gotta send her to the line. I think they were trying to foul her because she was so wide open off such a miraculous pass.
And this wasn't a one-off moment. This was the tone setter in a game that quickly spiraled from competitive to controversial. The New York Liberty, defending champions, were handed 32 free throw attempts. Indiana, just 15. That's not a small gap. That's a statistical crime scene.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
You don't need a calculator to know something's off. You just need eyes. And from the opening tip, this game felt tilted, like a seesaw with a brick glued to one side. The Fever, despite battling back from a 15-point hole, couldn't escape the fact that every time they gained momentum, a whistle cut them down. Soft contact from Sabrina Ionescu resulted in automatic free throws.
Chance to give the Liberty the lead.
I mean, she turns the corner and gets downhill. I don't know, Lexi Hull, vertical. Maybe that's offense-initiated contact, and maybe Stephanie White.
Stephanie White chooses not to challenge. You think about the foul on the previous play with Sabrina and how she went at Lexi Hull. They call it that time. Bonner gets whacked on the other end. They don't do anything.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was being treated like she wandered into a rugby match. Full body collisions with no consequence.
This is Caitlin Clark, who I still think has a great chance to win MVP. Obviously, she's the most popular player in the league. She's at home in front of that crowd, and you don't give her that call?
It was as if the referees were auditioning for a role in a conspiracy thriller. Whistles were being blown like party favors every time New York flinched. smashed. But when Indiana actually took contact, nothing, no sound, no justice. The only thing louder than the crowd was the silence from the officials every time Clark hit the deck. But that wasn't even the worst part.
You had Sabrina coming down off of a layup where she just falling, man. She's just falling, all right? Now, if you wanted to call that a foul, fine. But what happened? What happened with Caitlin Clark doing the same fall, fam? Doing the same fall. She's falling just like that, but no call.
Let's walk through the insanity. Fourth quarter, game on the line. Lexi Hull is playing tight defense on Sabrina Ionescu. Nothing dirty, nothing reckless. Suddenly, whistle. Foul on Hull. Replay shows minimal contact, if any. It looked more like Sabrina slipped on her own momentum than anything Hull did. But the refs? Automatic free throws.
You had Sabrina coming down off of a layup where she just falling, man. She's just falling, all right? Now, if you wanted to call that a foul, fine. But what happened? What happened with Caitlin Clark doing the same fall, fam? Doing the same fall. She's falling just like that, but no call.
Then moments later, Caitlin Clark attacks the rim with authority, driving past two defenders, elevating through contact, and hits the ground hard. Everyone watching saw the armbar. Everyone saw the hip check. The most gut-wrenching part? Every single one of these calls came in crucial moments. We're talking about the closing stretch of a one-possession game. A single missed call in that scenario isn't just bad officiating. It's an influence. It's the control of the game.
We got it down to the wire. We're at fever. And I'm thinking, okay, they got a real shot here. And then they didn't have a shot because of 3 straight awful pro-liberty calls that I just can't believe what I just witnessed. These are the fever of Caitlin Clark at home.
And when it happens over and over again, all favoring the same team, people start asking the question the league never wants to answer. And then things got even more incriminating. A clip surfaced after the game, and it spread like wildfire. In it, a WNBA referee is caught, clear as day, turning his back while Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are mid-possession, not adjusting his position, not stepping aside, fully turned, ignoring them, not watching the play at all.
Watch this, bro. Watch this. I cannot make this up. Watch this. Y'all see what's happening right here? That is a WNBA referee turning his back to Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Oh my God. I mean, he literally got his back turned, ignoring Caitlin. I mean, this is bad. This is bad. This is beyond bad, bro. I can't even lie. Dude's got his whole back turned to Caitlin and Sophie. All of them.
Even the calmest fans were fuming. Comment sections erupted. "This is next level disrespect," one wrote. Another said, "If this happened to LeBron, the NBA would have suspended the whole officiating crew by morning." It wasn't just about the missed calls anymore. It was about the message. And the message was clear. Caitlin Clark wasn't getting the respect she deserved. And that's when the narrative shifted. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't a bad night. It seemed on purpose. And it hit even harder because of what Clark means to the league. She's the ratings juggernaut, the ticket seller, the name that brought new eyes to the WNBA, and she's being treated like a rookie with no status.
Look at this, man. Just look at this. The pure disrespect on so many levels, guys. Man, I can't play it again. I cannot play this again, bro. I mean, guys, this is how the day went. This is how, bro, this just proved everybody's point. They have an agenda against the Fever. There was 3 referees. None of them turned their head to even look at Caitlin Clark, acknowledge her at all, bro. They didn't even acknowledge her at all, bro. Her, Sophie, Aurelia Boston, bro. They treated them like they was nothing. Nothing, I tell you. This is messed up.
But it gets worse, because what followed that ignored possession was the kind of refereeing spiral that left fans asking if the entire outcome was pre-decided. It could have been one of the greatest comebacks of the season. Down 15 at halftime, Indiana looked cooked. The Liberty were rolling, the shots were falling, and the Fever were flat. But then, Caitlin Clark happened.
And now you see Phoebish starting off on Caitlin Clark. New York is pretty coy about how they would defend her. Boston, they roll the catch and puts it in the two.
When
Her deep third quarter buzzer beater didn't just cut the lead, it cracked the game wide open. The crowd erupted, momentum shifted, you could feel it. The Fever were charging back, fueled by Clark's fire, Aaliyah Boston's hustle, and a fan base that smelled blood. But every time the Fever got close, the whistles came down like thunderbolts from the basketball gods. And here's where it truly stings. One of the softest fouls of the game, a shoulder bump that wouldn't knock over a toddler, sent Sabrina to the line again, and just seconds later, Clark got hammered on a pull-up three. Her arm clearly hit. No whistle. Even the broadcaster gasped. You've got to be kidding me. And yet, play continued like nothing happened.
How can you do that to her and to her team on 3 straight plays? Bonner, Lexi Hall, Caitlin. 3 straight plays down the stretch of a very close game against the defending champs. I'm sure the ratings will be through the roof on CBS. It's a holiday weekend. It's the Saturday of the holiday weekend. How can you do that to Caitlin Clark? I need to know. Somebody up there, please explain to me, how can Caitlin Clark not get a call that everybody else gets of equal stature in the league? Name them Asia Wilson or Brianna or Steph or LeBron.
That wasn't momentum swinging, that was momentum being stolen. And if the Fever players looked emotionally drained by the end, can you blame them? How do you fight when every punch gets blocked? Not by the opponent, but by the refs. But if that comeback was frustrating, the bigger picture is far more disturbing. At first, fans were just mad, then they were confused. Now, they're starting to connect the dots, and what they're seeing paints a troubling picture. Because this wasn't the first time Caitlin Clark got saddled with phantom fouls and ignored when she hit the floor. This was the second game in a row where she finished with 5 fouls. 5 for a player who barely touches people on defense and gets manhandled every time she drives. How does that make sense?
I think Sabrina was just begging and threw it up left-handed, and they called a foul. And I'm like, challenge it, because they had a challenge left. And Stephanie White, she already on the hot seat? I don't know. Why don't you challenge? I don't know. It just didn't look like a foul. I guess they thought it was a foul, a body foul. I don't know. I think you could have won that challenge at home, at Indiana.
Even more suspicious, Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston were also hit with 4 fouls each. That's 3 starters playing cautious, hand-tied basketball while their opponents charged the rim fearlessly. Meanwhile, New York stars floated through the game like they had diplomatic immunity when contact rolled right off them without consequence. At what point does it stop being coincidence? Because fans are noticing a trend. Every time Clark's popularity spikes, the whistle gets tighter. Every time she drops a big stat line, the following game brings more foul trouble. And the players benefiting? Almost always the league's established stars. Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, Alyssa Thomas. It's almost like the old guard is being protected, and the new queen in waiting is being slowed down.
League is this league because of Caitlin Clark. She is it. She is the biggest lightning rod gate attraction this league has ever known, times 5. I might go times 10. And you don't give her that call at home. You don't give her team any of those calls. I don't know why Stephanie White didn't challenge. Maybe they would have gotten that one, but help me out.
One viral comment put it bluntly: The WNBA is trying to humble Caitlyn before she takes over. Harsh? Maybe. But it doesn't sound so crazy when you look at the numbers, when you watch the replays, but the consequences of this go far beyond just foul totals or box scores. This wasn't just a bad night for the refs. This was a black eye for the entire league. Caitlin Clark is more than just a rookie. She's a phenomenon. She sold out arenas in cities that couldn't even fill half their seats a year ago. She's broken viewership records, driven merch sales through the roof, and sparked debates that reach far beyond sports pages. She's what the WNBA has been waiting for, a lightning rod that finally makes the league mainstream.
The league is still resentful of her, it's still jealous of her, and it's still trying to put her in her place and give her nothing, make her earn something that she already earned last year when she put this league on the national map. For the first time ever, it was really and truly on the national map.
And this is how she's treated. At home, on national television, in a tight game against the defending champs, and she can't even get a basic foul call? It's not just disappointing, and it's damaging, because when the most popular player in your league is getting knocked to the floor with no whistle, it sends a clear message to everyone watching. This league doesn't protect its stars.
It will be a lot of people standing around waiting for something to happen, or she's just going to be getting guarded physical as hell, and the refs clearly aren't going to do anything about it. So she's going to get mauled, and she's going to be getting tired and gassed out. People are going to be putting their hands all over her like this. They're going to be pushing her around, and it's not going to be called.
Worse, it turns every conversation about growth into a PR nightmare. Instead of talking about Clark's incredible vision, her third quarter takeover, or her chemistry with Aaliyah Boston, the narrative becomes about officiating again and again and again. The optics, terrible. The fans, furious. And the silence from league officials, deafening. But that silence is louder than any press release, and it's beginning to drown out the product on the court. Let's be honest, the WNBA has a serious officiating problem. When a playoff intensity game turns into a whistle circus, and the box score reads like a rigged casino, something is broken. A 32-15 free throw disparity is a joke, and not the funny kind. This was a defining moment, and the refs failed it in every way possible.
The refs, man. The refs. I'm the type of person who will always say, you should not put the ball or put the game in the refs' hands. Now, granted, there are some things the Indiana Fever did that helped them lose this game, but fam, there was a lot that the refs did to help the Liberty win this game, fam.
So what needs to happen? Start with accountability. Fans want transparency. Release official reports. Acknowledge when calls are missed. Show that someone's watching the refs just as closely as they're watching the players. Right now, it feels like the stripes are untouchable, and that's killing trust. Then there's training. These aren't middle school gym teachers. They're supposed to be professionals. Treat them like it. Train for pressure moments. Simulate late game chaos. Make sure refs don't fold when the lights are brightest and Caitlin Clark is on a run. And coaches, start using those challenges. Stephanie White's decision not to challenge that phantom foul on Sabrina Ionescu? A missed opportunity, one that might have flipped the entire outcome. Every whistle counts, and when your star is being hunted on defense and ignored on offense, you've got to step in, because right now, it feels like the only people stopping Caitlin Clark are the officials.
So just really quick, man. There's no way you have the Liberty shooting 32 free throw attempts and the Indiana Fever shooting 15 free throw attempts in this game, fam, and are able to say the refs weren't one-sided. There's no way.
This isn't just about one missed call or even one bad night of officiating. This is about a league at a crossroads. The WNBA finally has the momentum, the headlines, the attention. It has a new generation of fans tuning in, and at the center of that surge is Caitlin Clark. Like her or not, she is the story, she is the star, and the way the league treats her will define how the world sees the WNBA moving forward. So when she's repeatedly fouled with no whistle, When her teammates are handcuffed by foul trouble while opponents get away with murder, it doesn't just feel unfair, it feels intentional, and perception in sports is everything. If fans believe outcomes are predetermined, if they think refs are playing favorites or silencing breakout stars, the league's growth stalls instantly. Broadcasters stop hyping, sponsors get nervous, casual fans stop tuning in, because what's the point of watching if the results are already decided? And make no mistake, people are watching closely now, not just to see Clark drop 30, not just to see if the Fever can finally turn the corner. They're watching to see if the WNBA can handle the heat or collapse under its own weight. Here's the truth the league doesn't want to admit. This game wasn't just a loss for Indiana, it was a loss for the WNBA's credibility, because when fans walk away from a nationally broadcast showdown more outraged about refs than excited about plays, you failed as a league, period. This should have been a celebration, a battle between champions and challengers, with a rising star trying to take down the throne. Instead, it became a cautionary tale, the moment when millions of viewers saw what happens when greatness gets undermined by bias. And Caitlin Clark? She's not going anywhere. She's still the biggest draw, still the reason your cousin who's never watched a WNBA game is screaming at the TV. But if the league keeps letting refs dictate the story, don't be shocked when fans start turning that TV off. The league is on the clock. Fix the officiating, protect your stars, or prepare for the fallout, because this wasn't just a missed call. This was a message, and it came loud and clear. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.